Brooke, thank you so much for being on the Trades and Builders Business Show today. How is it over in beautiful Queenstown?
It's incredible here. It's a little bit slower with everything happening, but it's beautiful south. Those mountains won't change no matter what happens. So very happy.
I just noticed when you put your arm up there before, there's you've got a bit of extra clothing there. What's going on?
Yeah, little workplace incident with a sledgehammer. Just trying to be one of the boys, trying to be the tough one, and just kept smashing the nurse taken, even though I was in a bit of pain. And yeah, next thing you know, she's done some damage. So we'll just get it healed, and then we'll be straight back on the tools, hopefully.
I've seen a couple of your Instagram videos where, like, saying one of the boys, I don't know if that's the good thing or not, but you are literally, you've got that balance of being, I'll say, you've got the balance of being a girly girl, but also you're tough as nails sometimes.
Yeah, it's been really funny. I grew up and I played so much sport, but then I also, love singing and like dressing up and makeup and all that other stuff. So I'm sort of a bit of chameleon. Mum always used to say you're a jack of all trades, master of nothing, which I find quite funny now that I am a tradie. But yeah, it's been interesting. People look at me or I meet them, say, at a bar on a night out or out for dinner, and they ask me, what do I do for work? And I say, electrician. And I kind of get a guilty kick over their reaction is always shock. Oh my God, really? That's super cool. Like, no way. So it's a pretty cool little secret I have going when I meet people.
So what's your Instagram handle? It's Sparky what?
Sparky Girl NZ. I intentionally chose to call it Sparky Girl because things associated with girls are always put down as like pathetic or, wasteful or, like girls like all this stuff that, I don't know, society sort of looks down upon. So I intentionally chose it to call it girl to show that girls can do this, that just because you are a girl doesn't mean you can't be, strong and do a job extremely well and be exceptionally professional at the same time. So I really enjoy the handle that I created, and it's gone super well so far.
So what's the biggest challenge that you've faced so far in doing what you're doing?
Oh, I'd say other people's perceptions of me. I definitely went through a really difficult patch the first 6 months of my apprenticeship where I loved the work I was doing, but I was getting treated differently and not in a good way. Had a lot of people who would do different things like get my number off the wholesale register and call me up asking me out and things like that, which I found really uncomfortable and quite unprofessional. So that took a really hard toll on how I viewed myself in the industry because became so obsessed with being so professional. I really distanced myself from my co-workers because I never wanted them to think that they could overstep that line. And then when I moved up to Queenstown, my second year of my apprenticeship, I threw away all of those borders that I had built to protect myself. And I just said, let's make an effort with everyone. Let's, throw away that you can't add your co-workers on Facebook or you can't, have good banter. And I sort of just dropped my walls a bit, and that's when I found out. I created some really good, meaningful relationships with the boys my age that I worked with. So, yeah, I think the hardest thing was definitely learning as a person socially and also learning how to tell people to get a life when they do sort of overstep that boundary. I've definitely got a bit of a backbone now, which I'm quite happy about.
Okay, so what strengths do you need to be a great tradesperson?
Oh, that's a great question. I definitely think you need some sort of physical strength. I played a lot of sport when I was younger, shot put, water polo, netball,
Water
things like
polo.
that. Water polo, yeah, I played water polo for almost a decade.
Wow.
Went to many nationals. Yeah, was the love of my life. I loved water polo, but I had quite a strong arm on me. That was sort of my talent in the pool, but it came in handy when I started my trade because someone might look at me and think that I couldn't handle it, but I sort of have a bit of a muscle under there. So it's been super handy. But also the fact is I think you need most or above most to be mentally strong. You need to be friendly, you know, to problem solve really well. And just be hard. It sounds strange, but you get a lot of slack from people who've been in the industry for years when you make a mistake that to you have no idea about. You get a lot of slack trying to manage working full time and your book work and social life and sports and everything. So it is a lot to take on. So that's how I would recommend someone have strengths in the trade is just be really organised, good at problem solving, and just quite a tough cookie.
Now I know this next question. It might take you 12 minutes to answer it, but why don't you do your best to answer it in under 60 seconds? So, what's the favourite part about your job?
Oh Jesus, yeah. Actually, I'm very lucky to have found my passion in life. But if I could shorten to a few things, it would probably be banter on site. The amount of laughs I have had with some of the guys I've worked with has just been unreal. I love my job, just pulling cable, the OCD of making everything perfect just lights up my brain. But I think the 100%, the number one thing is the community we have, especially on the Instagram, and people like you, Miles, are doing amazing. Like just this incredible community and support we have, and people trying to change, you know, the toxic masculinity and all of those underlying things, just makes me really proud to be part of such a cool group of people.
Okay, now you did pretty good with that one, answering that one in a shorter period of time. And I know I'm just guessing. Sometimes you don't struggle for words sometimes, which is fantastic. My next question is for you. With living in Queenstown, I've been to a lot of places in New Zealand, but I've never been to Queenstown. But looking at some of the photos, it's amazing. And does that really make you happier working and living in Queenstown?
God, yeah. You get out on some of the sites we work on, especially at Sparky's. We go to already finished houses a lot, and just the luxury of some of the houses we work in, and the views is unreal. You know, you're just fitting off a plug, and you've got this incredible landscape with these mountains and a lake and snow, and it's like being in a movie sometimes. So if I ever have a bad day, I sort of will go out and have a bit of a breathe of fresh air and look around, and I always leave with a smile because I'm like, wow, like I'm really lucky that this is my office. You know, this is what people dream of. People pay thousands of dollars to come here on holiday, and I get paid to be here essentially. So it definitely does make me a lot happier.
I don't think I've ever seen you not smile. So
I'm just a very happy person, you know, glass half full, you know, live life to the fullest.
So, do you think that you handle the boys' banter well on site?
As I was saying before, I've definitely grown into it. In the beginning, I think I was so petrified of inciting some sort of flirtation per se, that I was just really withdrawn. And now that I've grown a bit of confidence and I know more what I'm doing on site, when I meet the builders, I just lay into them, and they love it. They never expect, you know, a little blonde girl to be pushing them around site. So it's quite funny sometimes. I do love site banter, and I think if you have a talent for it, can make you go a long way in this trade. It's almost like the currency of the tradie world. So I definitely got into it, and it's probably one of my favourite things on site.
Now, one of the questions I want to ask you is like, what's the ideal smoko in Queenstown? And I've also heard of a burger place in Queenstown that's supposed to be like one of the best in the world. is it like Fur or
Berg,
something? Ferg. Okay. Have you been there, and is it that good?
I was lucky enough. We work in town sometimes, and I've had Frog Burger for Smoko, and it's bloody delicious. It is the number one thing here to do in Queenstown for some reason. But I love this cafe in Frankton called Black and White Coffee Cartel, and they're run by these two gorgeous girls, and they're all about locals, and they're just incredible. I will always buy coffee there. It is incredible. So that's my favourite Smoko spot, and I always drag the boys along there. So we've got so many cool little, vegan and cafes doing different things in Queenstown. It's so cool to live in such a, I don't know, you're spoiled for choice pretty much always here. But most of the time we are quite smart. We do just have Smoko on site, but it's always nice to go and get a treat.
So my next question is a little bit more serious, and the question is, have you ever faced sexual harassment in your trade?
I think this is a thing that scares a lot of girls, and I definitely have faced my share of sexual harassment. I talk to a lot of other tradie girls, and they're lucky enough they grew up or they worked in a tradie atmosphere that protected them, uplifted them, and I'm really, really grateful that those girls have had that experience. Mine's probably on the less percentage side, thank God. But I've had, just guys do different things to me. I had a guy slap my ass one day on site, which was pretty confronting. I think I was just in such shock I didn't know what to do, and I was so early on in my apprenticeship, I just tried to ignore it because I didn't want the confrontation. I am not a fighter, and I also didn't want to create a drama out of it. I just wanted to do my job and do it well. And in hindsight, I wish I had turned around and just, knocked him out, clean out, because everyone would have been on my side. But I think in my personal development, I went through these things, and it was a great lesson for me to then stand up and actually say, all right, mate, down the road, and give it back to those people. And I've noticed as soon as you stand up and you say nah, that's not on, those men, they're very weak and they will shut down immediately. And I want to talk about the harassment I went through, but I also want people to know is that was one or two people, over consecutive years, over years of my apprenticeship that I met. That is not a representation of all the incredible men I have worked with. I have worked with thousands of good, hardworking, wholesome men who treat you like a daughter, who treat you like a sister with respect. There's just a few outliers, and we've done so well to stand up and just say, hey, mate, you're not welcome here. So I'm really, really proud. I think there is more to do, especially for those younger girls coming in right at the start of their apprenticeship. They need to be checked up on. Is anyone hassling you? What's going on? And that would create a lot of less, I think, women leaving their trades or feeling so uncomfortable in their trades. Yeah.
So what's your big dream as far as being in the trade? Do you want to own your own business at some stage?
I'd love to own my own business. I am realistic about it though. It is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of planning. You do need a good amount of years underneath your belt first. But I would love to have a female-owned electrical company. A lot of people would say to me, only hire females, you could run with that marketing agenda. And I said no, because that's just doing sexism but in reverse. It's a great idea in theory, but there's a lot of really, really talented electricians I know that I would want on my team. So I probably wouldn't do that, but I would really like to have my own company in Queenstown, mostly focusing on domestic commercial work. But that's a long-term goal. I'm talking another 5 years at least till we get it off the ground. But I am driven. I have the energy now, and I want that to be a possibility for women. Why stop it just being a Sparky? Why not push it and be a Sparky that owns her own business? Something to look up to, and for other women to see me doing that and then get on the bandwagon as well.
Okay, so do you think that the older generation or the younger generation of men treat female tradies better?
Ooh. Wow. From my experience, I've actually found that the older boys treat you with a little bit more respect, like hear me out, because older men sort of treat you as a daughter. You know, they take you under their wing, they mentor you, especially when you're one on one with them. And I have had incredible tradesmen. I'm currently working with a guy called Diego who's absolutely unreal. Perfect tradesman. We have great banter, you know, we get the job done. He teaches me so much. He really cares about my learning and also my emotional health. Like, I had a bad day on site one day, and, you know, he just like put his arm around me, and he was like, "It's going to be all good, mate." And actually went off and bought me a coffee and bring it back. And that sort of stuff, it just goes such a long way when you're just not feeling that great. And I just feel unreal to have those type of tradesmen, you know, working above me. The younger guys, I think, tend to sort of see as a bit of fresh meat sometimes, and they'll take their shot. But you just got to, you know, just got to shoot them down. But yeah, so I would say the older I've found in New Zealand, the older generation does treat you a lot better.
Okay, so moving on to the Instagram side of things. What's your objective with Instagram? Like, what do you want to achieve with the following that you've built?
Ooh, to be fair, when I started it, I didn't really think much of it. I just thought it would be something funny so that my friends could see what I did for a job. And it sort of took off quite quickly, which was incredible. And I built it in the sense I wanted other women to see that you can do this. I didn't know any other female tradies when I started that page. None. I didn't know any in real life. I didn't know any online. And then through the Instagram, I saw Steph had her account, Melbourne Chippy Chip, and I just thought she was incredible. And then I met Chelsea, and we met up in real life, and then we became real life friends, which is amazing. I just want to show other women that you can do a trade, and it's not something that's extremely rare anymore. It's such a good career. You know, why should you get pushed into a job for minimum wage that you don't like, you know, stuck in an office because that's what's expected from you or your family thinks it's a good idea, you know? Go out, do a trade, be on megabucks, working outside, getting a suntan, you know, like it's just such a better lifestyle. So yeah, I definitely think Instagram's a good key to show other people that it is possible.
You've sort of already answered this question, but what effect has Instagram had on your work and your life?
I get a bit of slack from the boys at the company, which is good fun. They sort of they do it with their heart on their sleeves. They're not doing it to put me down, which I love. But it's definitely made me work a lot harder. I definitely feel a responsibility for other women in the trades on my shoulders, because if I appear professional, I do a good job of this, then my tradesman might say, "Oh, actually, let's get another female apprentice. You know, Brooke's pretty good. She's done, you know, twice as good as the boys." Like, another girl comes along, applies for an apprenticeship, they take her on, you know, like you really are setting that example. So it really has pushed me to not just slack off and not just coast through my apprenticeship, you know, really push it, do the best I can do so that other girls can have the opportunity I have.
Okay, so you've got 9,600 followers at the moment. Not that I'm looking. How long did it take you to get that?
It's pretty much a year anniversary since I started that page. And me and Chelsea really, really take pride in the quality of our followers. You know, we constantly delete spam accounts. We don't do things that we feel are immoral, such like, you know, promoting things that have nothing to do with us or that companies we don't support, which I'm really proud of. I think she's a great role model for me. I'm really inspired by her ethic. And yeah, I don't know, I think that we're just trying to do the best we can do in a tricky situation.
And how many posts do you do a day? Do you have a certain amount that you want to do, or because some days you just seem to be on there like non-stop, other days not as much. So what's your plan there?
It's kind of funny. I look at it as a hobby. It's not a job. So I want to enjoy what I'm doing. You know, some weeks I'm just over being on my phone, so I'll take a break because that ensures the longevity of my page. You know, I'm not going to spam everyone and then get sick of it and not even want to touch my phone and delete the account. You know, I want it to be something that makes me happy as well as people who watch me. So also the fact is, like, I work, you know, 40 plus hours a week. I've got book work. I do extra stuff on the side with Instagram. You know, I go to the gym. Like, I have a social life. So for me to balance all of that and also find time to post is actually really difficult. I've purposely in the past not taken on contracts with companies who have offered things for specific posts every week, because I know that I don't want the stress of having to meet them on my mind. So I kind of just play it as I feel it. As long as I'm enjoying it, I'm going to keep doing it. So if I post nothing or I post a lot, you know, consistency isn't really my strong point, probably.
So one of the reasons you're probably getting quite successful with Instagram is because you're not actually, in a way, you don't have a plan. You're just doing whatever feels right.
Yeah. And I think authenticity is really important nowadays. I see people posting just such consumeristic, just things I don't agree with, maybe, just really fake things. And I think people see through it a lot of the time. If you're on here for genuine reasons and you really do love the tradie community, people really do engage with you. You know, I might not seem super active some days, but I might be replying to, you know, 50 messages and having really great conversations with, you know, big companies and big players, and even just someone who's just started their apprenticeship, you know. So it really is interesting behind the scenes.
And what would be some things that, or are there people or things that actually inspire you in life?
Oh, yeah. Definitely people like Chelsea. She's just such a sweetheart, and she works.
I knew you were going to say her.
Yeah, she does. She does. She works so hard, you know, like, and she's just such a good friend as well. And it's so important that I have her in Queenstown, because Queenstown is a really hard place. A lot of people are transient, here for a year, working visa, holiday. So to have someone in the tradie community who also is a female and then also is permanently here is actually really awesome. So yeah, she definitely inspires me, and just everyone. I mean, there's a lady on Instagram, her name's like Lady Spark, and she owns her own female business in Tauranga. She is an electrician. She's been in the trade for almost a decade or something like that, and she owns her own business. And I look up to someone like that so much. I'm like, if she can do it, I can do it. I think of people like, there's a girl called Emily, and she's on her second child, and she's also an electrician. And she was still at work up until about like 8 months or something. And I just think all of these women are doing such incredible things. I look up to them so much, because if they can do it, so can I. And it just fills me with so much pride. It's just indescribable.
So what are some of your longer term goals for you being in the trade that you're in?
I definitely would like to take a strong approach to the mental health at the moment. I think there has not been enough credible change, especially in the South Island in New Zealand. You know, I've lost mates who are tradies to suicide and things like that. So it really hurts, especially when you see the people who are supposed to lead this industry, or the teachers of this industry, sort of encouraging that toxic behaviour. So I've definitely stuck my neck out a few times and tried to speak up and improve the industry, and that's something I'd really like to continue with. I started a page called Toolbox Talk NZ on Instagram, and that's very, very young at the moment, but my plan is to grow that to be able to financially assist apprentices, assist them with mental health services, do giveaways, just try and boost their mood and have this sort of community where everyone else understands how much of a struggle it is to get through an apprenticeship. You're paid not much. You're supposed to balance a job with study, all sorts of stuff. So I would love to grow that and help apprentices, because I do know how tough it is. But yeah, that's my long-term goal with this industry, is really improve that sort of toxic mindset we have with mental health at the moment.
Okay, so we've got time for 2 more questions. One is, what would be some tools that you use that you've actually found maybe in the last 6 months or 12 months that this one's not supposed to be funny. It can be, but what tools would you use? What tools have you found that you use that it could be you've found them on Instagram or you've seen other people use them that you think this is great, that you might want to let somebody else know about?
Oh, wow. I was thinking, I took a video of me at my mum's wedding stirring my drink with my pliers. I was like, always a tradie, like, just joking, but I definitely have come across some incredible tools that make life a hell of a lot easier on site. I think Fluke's hand tool range is actually incredible. If you're after some new pliers, their needle noses, I think, are the best in the industry. I can't go past the Fluke meter either. Sorry, they're just so great for apprentices, because you have 3 options. That's it. You're not getting lost in all buttons and things like that, and they're great to start off with. But I'm a huge fan. I'm probably a Milwaukee fan and a Bosch fan, which is probably quite controversial, but I do have a love for pretty much all brands. I don't know. I'm sort of someone who, whatever I have, I'll use. I'm sort of a bit of a, what would you call it, a cheater, because I use cable strippers. I think they're the best things in the world, and the old boys always give me a bit of slack because I hate stripping with pliers. I can do it, but I just find the cable strippers make such a neater job. So yeah, I highly recommend them too. There's a lot of tools out there that you could use. Everyone has an opinion on what's the best, so I sort of just let everyone else make their own choices. I'm not here to sell anything. I'm just here to show you that girls can do a trade.
And that sort of leads on to my last question is, what would be your comment for other females looking to get into the trade? Since you've started, what would you say to them?
I'd say, it sounds weird, but we all are in this together. Even the boys, you'll be surprised how many men will actually back you, how many men will support you. My dad is my biggest fan. He always wanted me to do something like this, and he was more proud the day I decided to become an electrician than he was when I graduated high school or anything like that. So I would just say, just go out there, just give it a go. The worst case scenario is you do 6 months of it and you absolutely hate it, and then you never do it again. Well, guess what? Now you've got a knowledge of how electrical works and housing and commercial all throughout New Zealand. That knowledge is never going anywhere. It's always with you. So I feel like it's never a waste of time to try a trade. The cool thing is you get to see everyone else's workplaces. So if you don't like it, you work in a hospital, you work in an office block, you work in someone's house, you can choose anything. I just think it is such an awesome career, and you can earn great money. You can have your own business. Don't be limited by thinking your only career options when you leave school is hairdressing, receptionist, office worker. You can do anything. Don't let the fact that you don't have hairs on your chest prevent you from doing a trade.
And your bestie, is she close by?
She's left me, actually. She's out of the room. Do you want me to grab her?
No, like, is Chelsea, is she close by right now?
I will grab her. Maybe we even call her on Instagram. Watch this. We'll call her into the room. Okay. She'll be here in a second. Lovely. How you doing anyways, Miles?
So what's your
No one even asked you how you're going. Oh, she's back.
So remind us how you two met
We're back.
on Instagram, yes? How did you two connect on Instagram?
Sorry, how did
that
we meet?
happen? Yeah. How did you actually meet
I
on
think I
Instagram?
messaged her and annoyed her.
Okay, so there was
And
a
then
post
we
that came
went out
up,
for
was
a
it?
coffee, didn't we?
No, we were just talking to each other and then decided to go meet up for a drink, for a coffee.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
We took
And
some
and,
photos
that,
in the tradie lady.
and now you're twins. You can't be separated now.
See, me and him actually talked on.
Fantastic. All right, well, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you very much for both of you being on the show.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Miles.
You're on the Trades and Builders Business Show. My name's Miles Primos and we'll be back with you very soon.